Hello and welcome to Captains of Industry. My name is Noki Pimboy and today we're coming to you from the farm. Yes, I'm farming skuma wiki like Rick Ross says, chicken on 1,000 acres. You just hear quack, quack, quack. But this one is bigger than that. It's talking about how we can carry our fresh produce, provide market for them not only locally, but internationally. And the man behind the Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya is here with us, the one and only, popularly known as Ojepat, Mr. Ojepat, Okisegere.
Thanks.
Ojepat. Good to see you, man.
Nice, good to see you.
Okisegere, that's quite a unique name. Many people tell you it's unique, isn't it? What does it mean?
It means kingship.
Oh.
And I got it from my grandfather.
Really? Your grandfather was a king?
I inherited. We come from a family of kingship. So,
yeah,
so kingship and leadership. So
okay.
I'm carrying it.
That's incredible.
I inherited Okisegere Ojepat from my grandfather. So, and so when you look at me in terms of the names, it's my grandfather. In terms of the height, it's my clan. Small clan I come from is known for people who are tall.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have siblings who are short. So. Yeah.
I know. I hear you. Sorry for that. But starting us off, I mean, for starters, Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya, just in brief, what is the core mandate?
Yeah, good. First, I must appreciate. Thanks for coming to the farm. And we're in a farm that belongs to one of our members, who's a friend also, that we keep checking. And so, Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya is a trade association that brings together fresh produce industry actors, right from the farmer through to the market, looking at the aggregators, consolidators, the exporters. And we're looking at the domestic market space in terms of the groceries and retail in the domestic market space. And we do a few things, and in the recent past, we have had a lot of increase. So, whereas we look at the good environment of doing business, which is basically policy, advocacy areas in terms of getting that. But on this other side, we do market and market linkages, which basically ensures that whatever you produce goes to the market and to the consumer. In between here, we have to talk about compliance to certain sets of rules or standards that govern the industry, both in the domestic market and in the international market. And recently, we have decided we will have to strengthen the domestic market systems so that they can respond positively to the export market. So what we do is basically lobbying and advocacy in terms of the environment, market and market linkages, and being present there, looking at the logistics both locally and internationally. Okay. And now looking at what do you require? How do you eat? When do you eat? What do you need to do? The seed, the quality, the plant protection products, basically the entire product, so that by the time you get a leaf on your table in the evening or in the grocery or in the restaurant, you actually need to walk in and comfortably eat. And I'm sure in the country now you've realized there's very little that is being reported on food poison that used to be a bit rampant many years ago. It is because of the knowledge and the work that we are doing from the backside. Okay. So that's who we are.
That's incredible.
We're about 700 companies now that we bring together about 700 companies. So I basically sit on the steering wheel to ensure that we navigate this.
That's quite a huge number. Yeah. You know, I'm thinking in regards to leadership. Yeah. For starters, did you start as a farmer? Are you a farmer to the core? Because sometimes we see in the current world that we live in, people take up leadership role based on the soft skills of being a leader. So talk to me, are you a farmer, and does that inform how you lead Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya?
Interesting that you're asking me that question is because I'm a school dropout at some point in life. And I keep telling people I dropped out of school when I was in Form 3 because my parents could not afford to educate all of us who are following each other closely. Graciously, God gave our parents 9 children, and we were born in a span of about a year, 2 years in between. And that means that at some point there was a lot of pressure on my daddy in terms of fees. So when I got into Form 3, I couldn't continue because my daddy could not afford fees. So I dropped out of school, and by default I became a farmer. So I went in growing skuma wiki, growing tobacco, just to raise fees to be able to push the following. So whereas people went to secondary for 4 years, I did 5 years. 1 year was a break to raise money. So because of that, I grew a lot of passion. And when I was growing very young, my grandfather would lead us to animal, to milk very early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning, and sometimes even as early as 3. And that has become a pattern to me. Today, I sit in my office by 5 in the morning because I'm used to waking up that early and doing what I have to do. So the passion comes from what? By default, that I grew up from a family that used to do a bit of farming. And then by default, I became a farmer for me to finish my secondary education and taken through the higher education. And so that's where it comes from.
Okay.
And there was no discussion about whether you wake up or not wake up, and there was no clock. So whereas there are clocks these days when you have alarms, my grandfather's clock was clear. A cock or yourself. Yeah.
Clear. And how we shape, because we were chatting with you prior to us recording, talking about parenting and how you have an opportunity to steward a life. And these, of course, there is this generational argument. Oh, we were parented this way, now you have to parent differently. What do you think you picked from that stage with your grandfather that you're implementing right now?
For me, it's very simple. Focus, focus, focus. Keep the discipline, regardless of the generation. By the end of the day, we have 24 hours. It's what you do in the 24 hours, not whether you have 24 hours. So in terms of culturing and stewarding children, give them freedom. I didn't have the freedom myself, because anytime I met my father, there was always, you're either spanked on this other side, because there's always mistakes that they saw in you. And I imagine that was inherited from the colonial setup. And in our larger family, we had the chiefs, the colonial chiefs that were within it, so the discipline was very clear. And so what I've done is pass the same discipline to my children and the entire family, but in a different approach. It's clear. You must know the right and the wrong. And the questions normally is, did you have to do it? And the answer is no. So why did you do it? And in future, before they do it, they know daddy is watching. So I'm here today. I know where my son is. I know where my daughter is. I know where they are. I know what they do. They report back to me, and we are friends besides everything else. So it's one thing we have done is in the past run away from responsibility instead of confronting the responsibility. So if my daughter came to me today and said, Daddy, I need to have my hair done, she is basically just expressing herself. So my first love and my first relationship, my children, has made it easier. So we laugh, we play football. I do what girls do. I plait a bit of her hair, just to ensure that she appreciates the man in me in terms of the girl that she wants to, as I grow her up. But for the boys, we play football. We go to a haircut together. I'm the one who takes them for a haircut every day. As I have my haircut, they're having the haircut. So it's something that you must be intentional, you must be deliberate, and parents must avoid imagining that parenting will be done by other people, like teachers. It's your sole responsibility first, then the teacher next.
It's quite interesting, because now you are leading a household, but at the same time, in your capacity as CEO of FPC, you are also leading men and women who are out here. Are there parallels between what you see in parenting and leadership in the world that you're in?
Let me tell you, FPC is a job and it's a passion. As a people I meet, it's a marketplace. But family is a place I have to retreat to. Every day I am what I am because of family. My brothers, my sisters, my children. My children don't know me as CEO. They know me first as daddy. The CEO comes later. They've known me before I became CEO. And now as CEO. And later after I am out of this seat, because I can't be here forever. My parents, my mom and daddy know me as their child. So my daddy calls and says, hi, Oje, I need. It's not about negotiating. I am the son. My brothers and sisters call me as their brother, not as CEO. So we must be able to define ourselves that whereas you have a job that you are as a profession, it does not in any way remove from you a responsibility of being family.
Okay.
So we have family meetings every month, for example. We have to go to prayer meetings every month. I have children that I have to talk to. I talk to my children at least 3-4 times every day. That does not remove a responsibility. Even in my busy schedules, even when I travel out of the country, I dare tell you that I must talk to them on a daily basis as a father and as a parent. In terms of the leadership on this other side, dynamics change. Every morning when government announces one policy change, it changes the entire dynamic. When the marketplace says something else, it changes. When the market in the local place, like when it rains, it's a different conversation. When it's too hot, it's a different conversation. So every day for me, it's fun. Every day for me is a good day. But one thing I have decided to do is that I keep the eyes on the ball. You will not waver. I have bought the clock and the time.
Okay.
I have all the clock and the time. What I mean here is that, I mean, you've dealt with me before. If I'm coming for a meeting at 7, I'll be there 7 minutes to 7. And that meeting must end for me to get another thing. If you come around playing games, I don't joke around with time. On this other side, I also have the time, when it goes to family, I have to sit and relax. I sit under authority and a man in authority. So I must be able to balance both being under authority, because when I sit down with my elders, I'm strictly under authority. But I sit down on this other side, I am in authority. So I must be able to balance at what point do you sit down humble, sit under authority, and at one time do you exercise authority without being arrogant. Because by the end of the day, we are first human beings, and then these jobs come later. But I don't know, perhaps people are oriented differently.
Yeah.
Because I still can have coffee with you in a kiosk, or have coffee with you in the most expensive place. But it depends on who you relate with. When I go home, I don't even have my shoes. I walk barefoot. We sit on the farm. We do what we have to do.
Yeah.
When I go to the house, I have to take care of my daughter's hair, and I also have to help her do what I have to. She must first get to know that daddy is a man. Yeah.
That's in fact, it normally brings this discussion of work-life balance.
There's nothing like work-life balance. It is your responsibility. If you can do it, drop it off. Stop the job. If the job is going to break your family, then stop it. And if you think you're not going to take care of family, then pick them up. You don't choose who is going to be your family in terms of your brothers and sisters. You're born there. You can choose which job to take. But when you get to the marketplace, you don't choose where your colleagues come in. When they come in with a culture. They come in so many things. It's how do you learn to appreciate everyone at their level and be able to keep lifting them up and pushing them to the next level? Because by the end of it all, you deliver. Like in my work, I deliver through my colleagues. I provide leadership. I am very firm. I am very present. But at the same time, we've just gone through a training of 1,000 people last month. I trained none of those sessions. My colleague said, but I signed the certificate.
Now, that's quite interesting, because it brings the kind and the type of leadership. There are different styles for different people.
Yes.
What appeals to you the most?
For me, it's seeing guys grow. Every person I work with, we have grown with them. I have allowed them to make mistakes. I come from a point of make mistakes, come back and correct. Do not fear making mistakes. Whereas I want it perfect, but go and make your mistakes. You actually, my colleagues know you don't come to me and say, I want to do this. I'll ask you, what have you done? Try it. If you fail, come back for counsel. Open up your mind. Come and talk. I mean, I am only privileged to be in this position today. Anybody could sit in it, including my own colleagues. And when I exit, somebody will sit in it. So for me, I hear people saying there are these styles of leadership, there are these styles of leadership. Listen, number one, you are dealing with human beings who have their ambitions, who have their plan, who have their visions, who have their everything. They are most of them are even much better than you. It is only that we are privileged to sit on that position. So the question is, how do you harness all this talent, all this opportunity, all this network, put it together and have it go forward? However, you must have a passion, because this job can be discouraging.
Okay.
It is a passion. I think I define myself as a passion, courage, the courage. You need that courage to pronounce it, because after everything is said and done, put on your table, someone must pronounce. And I'm that guy who pronounces it. And sometimes it's so difficult on the backside, but you must stand in front of the camera and tell people, yes, this is the decision. Yeah, and that's my role.
Definitely.
If you can't do it, stop it.
If you can't do it, drop it.
Just drop it and exit. Don't exit quietly. Tell people I've exited.
Yeah.
So that people don't have to keep calling you. They must know there's another guy in town.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okisegere, I mean, you say you have over 700 organizations under the consortium.
Yeah.
that is a lot of dynamics.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining the evolution of leadership. When you came in, what was the first sort of a challenge that you realize, oh, this is what I'm facing, vis-a-vis the numbers that you've been in the consortium as the leaders, the CEO? What have you learned in that journey?
Interesting. I am the founder CEO of Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya. I've been in the industry for a while. I'm a trained agriculturist, and I've worked at all levels in the industry, starting from being what we call a scout down there, whose work is just to identify either pest or a disease and pass it over to a supervisor to make a decision. Then I rose through the ranks. I have worked in the pack houses. I've worked in the area as an agronomist. I've gone through what I would call all stages in management in this industry. But appreciating the fact that I used to sit in another organization as a board member, and in that organization we used to fight so much about the smallholder, the farmers and the entrepreneurs that are coming into the industry, and we needed someone to handhold them. And of course, board dynamics is about a vote. So then I reached at a point where I could not get sufficient votes. So I told the board, listen, courtesy of all of us, and that we are not able to take a vote, I am moving out, but I'm not moving out to go anywhere. I'm going to sit in an institution that I feel we can be able to speak about smallholder, about the Kenyan entrepreneurs that are coming in, small startups. How do we support the SMEs? And so walking into this organization, in 2013, they had created an organization and calling themselves the Kenya Association of Fruits and Vegetable Exporters. It was a small place that had been created just for comfort, and they will retreat there when there's fire. And then after that assignment is addressed, they will disperse. So I walked in and I said, listen, let's have this done in 2017, October 2017. So I sat down with them and said, no, it cannot continue this way. First, you cannot be exporters of fruits and vegetables, because there's another organization that talks about fresh produce exports. So we are already limited. So we have to get out of this. So quietly, what I did is I went to the registrar and to search the names and look for a suitable name. I got it, I reserved it, and I got the then board to a retreat. So even as we're going through all this discussion, I have the name reserved and held. So of course you need to get a buy-in. So I floated a few names here, and somehow the consortium name looked like, okay, it's a good place we can meet. And so I then engaged with the guys on the other side, told our chairman then to call someone who, we went through an exercise, but we had already done whatever reservation was there. So he asked for resources, everything, and we had to go through the legal process. After that, we passed it off, we agreed. But we're about 35. So what do you do with 35 people? And they are small guys who are seasonal. So we called a meeting in Nairobi. And I remember in a hotel in Nairobi, he said, we're going to launch the new name. And we had a few friends who accepted to come and support. And I called you guys in terms from the media and said, please, we have this new house we are going to launch. And I remember I didn't have notes, just like I don't have notes when I speak to people in most cases. So guys were asking for the speech. I said, I don't know how to write a speech because we're just launching this new outfit. So we launched a new outfit and we said, listen, we are going to provide a voice to everyone, particularly the smallholder and the SMEs that are coming in, because within the government setup, for example, for you to get a license, it was going to take you 30 days or beyond. And yet, this is perishable we are dealing with. So we needed certain decisions to be made quickly. And so engaging government was a bit tricky if you did not have a strategy. So we got an opportunity to enter, first of all, to break the protocols and say you cannot go through, because one side of the government, for example, will say you have a license, you have your certificate registered within a week. Then one side of the government arm tells you you must gazette your certificate for 1 month. So the question is, so why is this arm of the government releasing a certificate in less than a week? And this other one is gazetting the same document. So we removed that clause in our industry, and that opened up the space. Then we called the people again in the room and told them, listen, this is what we're going to provide. And somehow everybody started cheering. This is what we've been waiting for. And so the next question was, what do people want? Okay. Having been an agronomist and growing in the industry, I knew the pest and disease management and the seasonality. So I came in with that technical backup. And that's the advantage. And I want to say here again, I think for anybody who desires the position of leadership where we are, it is good for you to be a professional in a certain field. And where possible, be an executive, get to our level through certain ladder. I like doctors. I like, so if you can work within a space of influence. So these small jokes like today, you cannot tell me there's a pest in Meru or it's in Kericho or someplace in Coast. I'll ask you which pest is that? Where? Yeah, okay, fine. So we are discussing at a point where you are not far away from the technical part. So to cut the long story short, what we then did was to say, we need to increase the number of exporters out of Kenya. We need to ensure that we increase exports. Then we realized we also needed to deal with the domestic market because all the associations that were here were export focused and nobody was looking at the domestic market, such that even what was going to the supermarkets was of low quality. Today, if you go to the supermarkets in Kenya, you realize the kind of packaging of vegetable has changed. So I am happy with that. So the dynamics then of what I deal with now every day is a new day. Morning and evening are completely different. One phone call in the morning may actually spoil the day or make it. When you hear there's a delay of an aircraft to land in JKI, I don't have to sleep. I must call and check. So for that reason, the dynamics around me is that I have network. We have built network over time. I know who to call at any given time in any industry within the space where I control. But listen, it's not for the faint-hearted because you also get backlash. You get people who are fighting back and you get people who just want to deal with what I call status quo. Yeah. So I disrupt space quite a bit.
That's
and
quite interesting.
But I come with a lot of approaches. I come very humble where I have to be humble. I come very nice where I have to be nice. But one thing that never misses is by who, by when, what is it, who is fixing it, and by what time. So every discussion I have must always have a time. And not a time in terms of Friday. It has to be Friday the 4th. It has to be Monday the 3rd. There must be a day and a date attached to it and a time. So even on my email says, we have discussed this and this, we need feedback by 4 o'clock, by 3 o'clock, by 1 o'clock. And sometimes I'll tell you, let's meet 7 minutes to 9, not at 9. Then people keep asking, why not 9? I said, no, because we have misused the word 10, 5, 15. So I will tell, can we meet in 3 minutes? Can we meet in 8 minutes? So that I am certain to it. Then I have a principle, 12 minutes after the meeting has started, you are not part of my meeting. Because we will be forced to discuss an agenda of briefing you.
Okay.
And my first agenda in the meeting is what time do we end the meeting? Yeah. So if the meeting is supposed to be 1 hour, and you came in 10 minutes to 1 hour, the meeting will still end when it was supposed to end.
Wow. Yeah. And I love the respect and reverence of time that you have, because time is that currency that never increases. Everyone, once you're born, start cutting down. You are heading towards the end of time. And this brings me to, what do you think your purpose in life is?
So many dynamics depending on how you will look at it. For me, it's very simple. For me, it's human beings, we must feed the population. And for us to feed the population, there's so much to be done. And I always do this, and I've done this in the office before, that the world mouths that are supposed to feed are steadily going up in terms of the population. The arable land is steadily going down, courtesy of real estate and many other dynamics. So this gap must be filled by knowledge, by technology, by innovation, if we must feed the population. Until the last person has food on the stomach, and be comfortable with that. Can I let you know that the war in the world will continue? Insecurity in the world will continue. But the day everybody has food, we will dialogue. And what separates me and the other person is, can I decently be able to have a meal? a decent meal. A decent meal does not mean a 3-course. But does that meal, is it a decent meal where I have all the nutrients I require? Until that happens, I will be here.
Okisegere Ojepat, famously OJ, thank you very much, sir,
you.
for making time to speak to captains of industry. And thank you for sharing your wisdom and your life with Kenyans. There you have it. The CEO of Fresh Produce Consortium of Kenya says that when it's all said and done, that big mark, that big gap that was in the fresh produce sector in the country, he actually contributed and filled it because he decided to go beyond being a dropout, to go beyond and making sure that growth happens. Well, that's all for today's Captains of Industry. I'm Nokip Kimboy, and since we are in a green environment, as you serve your food, make sure that the greens occupy half of the plate. Bye-bye for now.